Hi, and welcome back to Dedication. Fans remember the Bay City Rollers, hosted by Bay City Rollers Fan Events. This is part two of Tammi's session. We left off just about when Tammi met Wendy in high school. So we're going to pick up where we left off, and I think Tammi's talking about the year 1979. Let's go.
I think it was still 78. I think it was still 70. Oh, no, 70, 79 is when I remember, I think Wendy calling me over to her house uh, to tell me something about, her mom. And apparently her mom, probably like a year before that, was writing in for tickets to the Mike Douglas show, and he was then now taping
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
California. Um, so I went over to Wendy's house, and she said, well, Mom got tickets to the Mike Douglas show. Would you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And this is in the summer, so I was out of school, and so I said, well, when? And she told me the date. So it was like August. It would have been like because the Magic Mountain shows were like the 29th, 30th, like around the 26th, 25th, 25th and 26th of August. And so I looked at the date, and my mind started going, and I go, wait a minute, where do you have, do you have a magazine? I got to find the Rollers tour because I knew that they were touring, and I was I knew that they were going to be in California, at the end of that week because they were playing Magic Mountain. And so I looked up the dates, and there was nothing happening on those dates. And I looked at Wendy. I said, "They've got to be playing. They've got to be playing." So we ended up with her parents. We went to the taping, and we were standing out in line. And I don't I don't remember really seeing anybody in roller gear because at that time it was sort of like, fading out.
Right. Well, who was the lineup then? Les was already gone, wasn't he?
Right, right. So it was Duncan.
Okay. Okay.
It was Duncan. Right. And so we're kind of sitting out in line, and all of a sudden we heard somebody like playing a radio or tape player or something, and it was one of the roller songs, and we kind of, like our ears perked up, and we're like, oh, so we went to the girl. Who's going to be on the show? Oh, yeah, yeah, sure. I'm like, oh my God,
Wow.
it's just another lucky time.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool. Um, yeah, so we went into the taping, and that was that about them. Um, so of course, later that week was the Magic Mountain shows, and Lauren and Wendy and Lauren had booked a hotel room. We, of course, had no idea what hotel that they were staying at. So, I think Lauren just sort of looked around for something that might have been sort of near, and within, budget reason for us, for a hotel that was maybe near Magic Mountain. And so we got into our room and everything, and then we went. It was the next, well, actually, that late that night, we went ahead and drove up to Magic Mountain because we wanted to make sure to get in the, early and, park and everything like that. And I didn't have a driver's license at the time. I got mine in '79. Um, and Lauren had this cute little green Vega, such a cute little car. And so we actually, I think, went to like it was like maybe a Marie Callender's or something down the hill from Magic Mountain, had something to eat, and then drove up to the gates for the parking lot. And of course, we were the only car there at that time because this is late at night. And so we're like really excited. We're trying to plan things, and so we slept a little bit in the car, and then at some point, really early in the morning, Lauren and Sherry said that they were going to go ahead and walk on into the gates that then leads into the park. And Lauren wanted me to then park the car. I'm
Oh.
like, okay, well, I don't have a driver's license.
Very
I was
interesting
extremely
friend.
nervous, extremely nervous, and so so I fell back asleep a little bit, and then when I woke up, I mean, it was still probably like an hour before the parking lot opened, but there were a lot of cars starting to, kind of file in. And so once they opened up the gates, I went to turn on the car. It didn't start right away.
Oh.
I almost
Uh-oh.
panicked. I know, I almost panicked. And then I started it up again. It started when it, paid the parking, and then kind of slowly drove in. I parked and then went on in and found them in line. And with the amphitheater there at Magic Mountain, there are two lines on each side. So we were in one of them on I think the closer side when you first walk into the park, and we were first in line in one of those two lines. Um, so of course during the day, we'd take turns to go and ride some rides, or I think I ended up taking a nap on the concrete steps, that we were on the line. And of course, as the day went on, more and more, fans, came. And we were told that in order to decide, which of the two lines were going to get to go in first, that they would be flipping a coin. So, we played that little game and we won.
Yes.
And so we got to go in first. And
Excellent.
oh my gosh, our friend Melissa, who, well, you'd have to know her. She was just one of those ones that would do like anything, everything, boisterous, didn't give a shit about anybody, and she was a couple years younger than me. So, she was like right at the front there of the line, and once they opened up our line, of course they told us, now don't run, make sure to walk, we're kind of walking fast, but she just took off. She, I mean, oh my gosh, she took off, she went, like running down the steps to the middle, and they have, the long benches like they have at amphitheaters for seating, and she just like, how to describe it, she kind of like flew right on top of the bench to and spread out, laid out. She just like dove onto the bench.
Saving seats for her friends.
I know.
No savesies. What's That's so funny.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. We were dying laughing because we could see her do that, but we were walking fast. We just weren't running.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to follow the rules, kind of sort of.
Well, she had your back.
Yeah, she never did.
She had your back.
Yeah. So, and then they also had two. They had two shows a night. So once it was over, we had to scramble out of there to get back in line. And of course, our line won the coin toss again. We get it,
Nice.
Yeah, it was
You've had
great.
some roller luck, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. The next day, let's see. The next day, well, actually, we found out. Well, I think Lauren found out where the band was staying, and they were staying at La Park. So, when you book a hotel room, if you cancel early, usually there's a penalty. This and that. Well, what Lauren did, she was a great actress. She went down to the front desk that next morning and gave a really sob story about someone dying in her family. We had to leave, and we did not get a penalty. They were able to cancel the
That's
rest of it. Yeah. Of course, we laughed about it, but yeah, we didn't let them see what we laughed about. So then we went straight to, we found the park, and she actually, I think, had called and booked a room for us, and then we get there, And so we're getting our luggage out of the car and everything. We're walking up the sidewalk. You could see, some girls kind of hanging around up in the front there. And as we got closer to the main entrance, I happened to look up and I saw Eric looking over the balcony.
Oh my goodness. Hello.
What a lovely fight.
I know my heart stopped. I was
Oh.
like, oh my God. And so I looked up and I kind of waved to him. Yeah, I don't know if he was just ignoring me or if he didn't necessarily see me, but there was no reaction. So that was a little sad, but I got over it. I got over it. So we get in, we go to our room, unload our luggage and this and that, and so we all then decided to go ahead and split, in different directions and whatever. So I remember walking down the hall to the elevator because I believe I wanted to go up to the roof. And the park was like maybe 4 floors or something like that. It was because it was in like a neighborhood, so it couldn't be, real high rise. And so, oh gosh. So I went to the elevator. I was waiting for the elevator, and the elevator dings, because the door was going to open, and the door opens, and there's Eric.
Jeez.
Wow. Yes, I died again.
So,
And I couldn't really say anything. It's just my arm automatically shot out to hold open the door.
oh. Because you're polite.
It was just like a reflex. It's like, oh, okay, here you go. I think he may have said hello to me, but I was just, a little starstruck, I guess, and just dying.
As one would meeting their teen idol.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
Tammy, who's all with you at the hotel? Lauren?
Okay, let's see. Lauren, Sherry, Melissa, Wendy, her sister Maria, me. I think that was it.
So quite a few of okay.
In our little group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I think we were all sharing one room. So there was, a big bed. There was a sofa bed. There was, I'm not really sure where everyone slept.
We're young. The floor works.
That's
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. During that I think it was the next day or maybe the day after, because they were playing 3 nights, and so the 3rd night we decided that we were just going to stay at the hotel. We were tired, and then we'd watch them, leave and come, for their rehearsal and come back and this and that. So, there were, so like during the day, at one point, I know Wendy and I went up to the roof, and there's lots of other fans there, this and that, and Eric apparently had left his sneakers and his Perrier bottle.
Is that where the pool was on the rooftop?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I got you. Yep.
Yep. The pool was up there, which is actually really cool. And so we sneakily snuck them, the bottle and the sneakers. And we took them back down to our room. Took pictures. We were all giddy, this and that. At some point, it must have been the same day. One of us, it may have been Wendy, I'm not sure, but one of us ended up returning the sneakers at least up to the.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, that was the right thing to do. The Perrier bottle you can keep.
Yes, exactly.
Sneakers, not so much.
Yeah, because yeah. And then let's see. I think it was after the show, or maybe it was that next night when nothing was happening. The days blend into one, and plus it's been like 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. We were in our room, and Wendy decided to just go take a little walk or something. And this is, fairly late at night, and I must have been on the sofa because I think that's where I got up from to answer the door. Yeah. So at one point, so I'm trying to get some sleep, but then I think our doorbell or there was a knock at the door. I get up, I go and I open up the door, and there's Wendy with Eric.
Oh my gosh.
And again, I died.
Wow.
At your door. At your door.
At our door.
You
yeah.
open the door and there's the mystery date.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God! So I died again. I don't know how many times I died. Every time I saw him. So brought him in. I think we probably introduced ourselves, this and that. We were then all gonna sit and talk with him. Now I had I think it was probably one of those like a radio with a cassette tape player.
Mm-hmm.
So and I had I think a tape already set up, probably just just to be safe, that if at any point in time we happen to see somebody or get to talk with them, that I could maybe tape record them.
Very smart.
Yes. So he comes in. He then goes to sit on the bed, and I went because oh, actually, you know what? I was getting it already while the other girls were kind of chit-chatting with him and, moving towards the bed. So I got the tape recorder, all set up, like underneath an end table or behind a chair or something. So I just turned it on, I hit record, and then went and I sat down, and so we're chit-chatting with him. And really the only thing that I remember from that whole conversation was, at that time, Eric was slicking back his hair,
Okay.
and so Melissa, being the one who had no filter, basically, as they say these days, she goes, Eric, what do you put in your hair? And he goes, KY jelly.
Oh man.
I know we're all, like 16 to 18.
Oh boy.
And, we
Right.
didn't know better. We had no idea.
No
The first
idea
time
what
I
that was
had
then.
a jelly. And, and so, we're like, well, what's that? And just as plain as could be, he says, it's what homosexuals use to fuck up their assholes.
Oh my.
I just snort laughed. Sorry.
I mean,
Wow. Oh, okay. Talk
anything
about no
that
filter.
that night, that's what stuck with me.
Oh, charming, as we say. Oh, wow. Maybe he was trying to shock you. I don't know. That's that's pretty
Well,
funny.
yeah, you
That
never
is shocking.
know. Yeah, you never know.
And hasn't he ever heard of Formula VO5?
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Yeah, and then
Oh
let's see.
boy. Boy, oh
Yeah.
boy.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, Eric.
Oh yeah. Oh, also, at another point, we had I think I was working at a liquor store at the time, but I was working in the deli section, so I know how to put together a really good meat and cheese platter.
Mm.
Nice.
And so I was able to acquire some Andre pink champagne because we only had the best taste.
That is
Very
classy.
fancy.
Andre Pink Champagne. Very classy.
Andre pink champagne. Yep.
Classy.
And so we had brought it with us, and we actually had it sent to Eric's room. And he did during, I believe it was during that conversation that night, he did tell us not to send any more of that pink shit.
Huh.
So we're like, okay.
Now, do you have this tape recording somewhere?
Unfortunately, no, because that next morning at some point, I had left the room just to kind of walk around, maybe go up to the pool or something. I believe Wendy was still in the room. I think Lauren was there, maybe one other. And for some reason, Eric's by, and they had been playing the tape, just to listen to it over. I don't know if it was playing at the time that he came over and maybe heard something or whatever, but he came into the room and apparently he saw the tape recorder and was asking, oh, well, what's this? And I think he may have hit play or, whatever, and heard himself and apparently ended up taking the cassette tape.
Yeah, you were busted.
Yeah. And they all told him, he wanted to know who did it. Of course, now I'm outing myself. And I think, like Lauren and Wendy, they said, oh, is some girl that we had just met.
Oh, good.
So
good call.
I had, yeah. But
that was nice. They had your back.
Yes, they had my back, but of course, I'm just hoping that if he gets wind of this, if he happens to remember that time, that he won't think anything less of me.
No, all is forgiven. Yeah. All is forgiven.
I hope so.
I mean, we were just kids,
That's true. That's true. Oh my gosh. Yeah, a couple. Oh yeah, and then I think it was the next month, like a few weeks later, the band was also playing the Palomino.
Oh right.
Up in the valley, and so we all went, and we ended up finding out that they were still staying at La Park, so we got rooms there. And at one point, Wendy and I were kind of just walking around, just checking things out. And so we decided to go see who might be staying in the room that we stayed at when we were there for the Magic Mountain shows. So we went to the room, we knocked on the door. The door opens, and of course, our mouths dropped open because it was Derek wearing just a towel.
Oh. First of all, so you just randomly went up there and you just knocked on the door of the previous hotel, having no idea who was in there, and it's Derek opening the door in a towel.
Yep.
I'm going to rub your whole face when I see you next because you have the luck. Wow. That is incredible.
That's a great story.
You have the roller karma, that's for sure. Oh, poor Derek, though. Was he embarrassed?
He didn't seem to be.
Oh, okay.
And I don't, we probably said something like, oh, like hi, of course. But we probably just said, oh, well, we stayed in this room, a few weeks ago, and we just, we kind of wanted to see who might be staying in,
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible.
Awesome.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Oh, gosh. And then I think the next time that I saw the band would have been in 81, which when they did shows at the Roxy in Hollywood. And not much no real big stories there, except for after one of the shows, Sherry and I think we overheard somebody saying that they were either staying at the Sunset Marquis or somebody was going to be going to the Sunset Marquis. So Sherry and I drove over, and I think we were in like the parking garage, and we saw Alan come walking through, and I got a picture of her, I think right after she had went up to him. So not a whole lot about those shows, but they were good, and we saw them alive, we saw them, leave and stuff. After that, I mean, through the rest of the 80s, I had, with no internet, of course, I mean, I had no idea what the band was doing. I had lost a lot of contact with, most of my pen pals by then, as I probably, a lot of the fans did as well.
We were getting older.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then so in the 80s I got into my hair metal, bands. So I got stories about that, but that's for another show. And then by 1990, um, uh, I believe Maria saw something in like a local magazine or something. I think both Maria and Wendy were living up in the LA area. I know Wendy was. And so, they told me, and oh, yeah, we got to go, see. It was Duncan and Ian. They were playing a place called Club 1970s, which I believe, if I remember correctly, was the old Cat House by um, Ricky, what's like, I always forget his name, but I know who it was. Um, so, we get there. I think Maria was pregnant at the time because she looked so cute. She was in suspenders and she's pregnant and sitting off on the other side of the wall. I believe my sister was there with us. And so we ended up standing right, of course, up at the front of the stage where, that's our place. And Wendy, of course, was directly in front of Ian, and then I was to the left of her, and then my sister. And this is when, Duncan and Ian were performing together, and Joe Stefanelli was in the band, and Lindsay Honey was drumming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for that show. And so they're, doing roller songs and this and that. And one of the songs, Ian went to step up to the microphone to sing, and the microphone fell. He has this thing, something about, not being able to sing when a song comes on. And the microphone dropped, and I immediately, elbowed Wendy, and I said, pick it up. And so she reached out, and she picked it up to hand it to him. He was, I don't know if he was embarrassed or just not really paying any attention, but I think Joe is the one that then put the microphone back on the stand. And that was really the only thing about that show, but it was fun. But there is I think Lindsay Honey had either a friend, he must have had a friend videotaping that show, and I remember us watching it, and you could see us, because we were right in the front. We see, Wendy's hand, kind of pick up the microphone, and of course, little did Ian know that his future wife was right there in front of him.
Yeah, wow. How about that?
We then, so that was like July of 1990. Then we found out that they were performing at the Coconut Teaser in Hollywood in September 27th. And so we went there. I drove it, because Wendy was living in LA at the time. I was still in South Orange County. So it's a bit of a drive, especially with the traffic, starting to really build up back then. And we went to the show, and I kept telling her, I said, well, I don't know what's going on with the band, no internet back then. I don't know what's going on, so I want to make sure to get pictures with them, And so we were kind of hanging out at one point, and Duncan started to come by, so I grabbed him, got a picture with him, and then I think it was probably not too much later, Ian comes walking by, and I said, Ian, can I get a photo with you? And he says, oh, yeah, sure. I handed my camera to Wendy, and so I stood, next to him, and he was sort of, I don't know, he wasn't paying too much attention or whatever, but he said, oh, well, who's taking the picture? And I said, she is, and I pointed, because she's right there pretty much in front of us with a camera. Who else is going to be taking the picture? So she took the picture, and I'm like, oh, thank you, this and that. Sometime later, Wendy got a photo, and so I took the picture of them. And then after the show, we were still, hanging around, kind of watching everything, and Ian had gone outside, probably to have a cigarette or something. And he came back in, and then there was a bunch of fans, around him, and, talking to him, this and that, and we're watching this, off to the side, and um, she starts saying, "Oh, I wish I could just, talk to him, and just talk to him again, or whatever." And I'm like, "Well, then go and talk to him." And I'm like, literally pushing her to go over and talk to him. And so she did, and she kind of waited her turn, and they said hi and this and that, and she said something like, "Oh, Ian, I've been wanting to, meet you for, so many years, blah blah blah," and then he says, he asks her, "Well, what are you doing later?"
Magic.
Yeah. And I'm watching this off to the side. I'm watching this, and my jaw is just dropping more and more as I'm watching, it. And she, she probably didn't really hear what he said, because I'm sure she was like in a fog or something. And she's like, "Oh, what? I'm, whatever." And then he says, "Oh, well, do you fancy, or would you like to? Are you doing anything later?" "Oh, I'm sorry, and I'm married." And she was married at the time, but just the point here, she, I personally feel she should never have married that guy, and it wasn't a good marriage to begin with.
It happens.
It was bad by that time anyway, and it hadn't been too long. Because I don't want anyone to think that, otherwise that, she either just ran out on her husband. No.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't want, because it wasn't like that. And besides the fact that, only a few of us know the real story,
Mm.
Right.
But anyway, so once she said, "Oh, Ian, I'm so sorry. I'm married," and he goes, "Well, fancy getting a divorce?" And she goes, "Well, yes, right now, yes."
Oh.
And so then after that, she came back over. She was just so excited. My jaw was still, dropped to the floor because I couldn't believe what had just happened and what had been said. And so then we got in my car. I had a Subaru. I had a moonroof. We're driving down the street, and she decides to open up the moonroof, stand up as I'm driving, and she yells out as loud as she could, "Hey, LA, Ian Mitchell asked me out."
Wow. That's very California too. That whole visual. Well, I think that's going to be a good place to stop. This should be continued because there's more to the story, obviously. Will you come back and tell us the rest, Tammy?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, great.
That would be awesome.
Thank you so much, Tammy. We'll catch up again to get part 2.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right,
Very nice.
Thank you,
You have a
Tammy.
great story.
Thank you.